pulls the trigger, hits it from way downtown, and checks his pocket.
Checks his pocket as Chris is checking his pocket because we had a little mic situation. So Chris is getting mic'd up. We'll hear from him in a sec. Garcia just sprinted. What a way to welcome the new year. But let's talk about that shot because Derrick White going into the fourth quarter. We'll make sure you're good in a second. D. White going into the fourth quarter, everybody. 2 points. Only 2 points. He checked his pocket and exploded in the fourth quarter to finish with 16. And the Celtics, they go on to win this thing. By the way, it was tied going into the fourth at 88. 120-106 the final. Welcome, everyone, to Celtics Postgame Live. I had to laugh because that was impressive. Are you mic'd up?
I am now mic'd up.
Perfect. We're good.
Shout out Garcia. Like, look, much like the Celtics tonight, the starters did not have it at the start of this, and we needed the reserve group, the supporting cast, to pick us up. I love the way that from Luka Garza to Sam Hauser to Anthony Simons all kind of gave you that boost and help you stay afloat. We quote the number pretty much every night now here, where when the Celtics get 35 bench points, they are 14-3 this season. Well, it's now 15-3. They had that number midway through the second quarter. It was nice to see Jalen and Derrick take the baton and get you to the finish line. But that reserve group, and just think back to like the beginning before the season and what all the questions about the bench and how much could you lean on your depth. And the boost that group is giving you, regardless of who it is, like, and even as they kind of like jockey for time, I'm so impressed by what the bench is doing.
Yeah, I am too. That's the part right there is that with the depth we have. I said it at we got sneaky depth, 35 points at halftime, I believe, that we had off the bench. Anthony Simons had 14, but everybody steps up at a different time. You know, it could be Anthony Simons in the first half. Then you got Sam Hauser knocking down shots in the first half. Then Luka Garza comes in and he's able to do what he does. And it's just a mix of that. And then, you got your closers. They close out the game. Jaylen Brown, who, when we looked at, I want to say he wasn't even on the leaderboard for most points in the first half. You know what I mean? I think Anthony Simons was leading that with 14. So then you look up and then now, 29 points and Derrick White only 2 points through 3 quarters. All of a sudden he catch fire. And it's just, it's a real team effort. They really are putting it together collectively. And you know what? 25 assists, we're 14-1 when we have 25 or more assists. And that's very important. And we only had 13 turnovers. So that's the number. I've always been keying on that number like the last few years is when we move that ball, everybody eats, and we usually end up winning basketball games.
Eddie, I like how you put it, the closers, because you're talking about being like stars within your role, and that's what the bench did, having those 35 points. You mentioned it, JB only having 9 points. He had that nice layup to close out the half, and then he has 11 in the third and then finishes with 29 points. He could have had more. Bill Kennedy, we got some Bill Kennedy review, which I absolutely love. Of course, you Celtics fans wish it went in a different direction because they did not win that challenge call. But Derrick White, the star, specifically in the fourth quarter, finishing again with 16 points, only 2 going into the fourth, and he was the closer. He's standing by with Abby Chin postgame.
Derrick, started the new year off with a win. This was a fun one. How were you guys able to get enough stops down the stretch?
That was the name of the game. We were scoring. And obviously, they were scoring. So able to buckle down there down the stretch, get stops, get rebounds, and get a good win to start the year.
You came alive in the fourth. What changed for you?
Trying to be a little aggressive, stay in my shot. I don't know. It's just fun time in the game, and just wanted to make an impact on it.
Certainly did that, as did guys like Nimi, but the bench. These trips take everyone to get the W. How impactful was that group?
They've been huge. All year they've been huge for us. They come in, kind of change the game, bring energy, 50-50 balls, make shots. They do a little bit of everything for us. So we're a complete team, and we need everybody.
Derrick, thank you very much. Congratulations. 3-1 on the road trip so far.
Derrick White, there are 16 points, 14 of them coming in the fourth quarter alone because he only had 2 going into the fourth. What's up, fellas? The Celtics getting the win in the new year in a great way. You know, Eddie was talking about how the bench really stepped up. As you guys know, you saw it firsthand, 35 points in the first half. And then check your pockets, D. White closing this thing out. What'd you make of it?
That's what he does, Kayla. I mean, it really doesn't matter what happens in the first 3 quarters for Derrick White. He's going to show up in the fourth, and he's going to be reliable. You know, this is a guy who does so much for the Celtics, and it's just amazing to see him transform into a dominant on-ball player when they need him to do that.
Yeah, and the team has different guys that can do that. Case in point, Jaylen Brown gets his 6th foul. I didn't think it was a foul, but he got fouled out. All of a sudden, Peyton Pritchard gives you 2 buckets back-to-back and the pass over to Nimi Keita. So it is really nice to see different guys can have their moment, the bench having their moment in the first half. You become a really tough team to beat when you can get, I think I wrote it down right here, 12 of 17 from 3 for the bench. That's from 3. That's insane. That'd be insane for some of the best teams in the NBA and NBA history starters to be 12 of 17, and we're getting that coming off the bench.
Yeah, the bench mob's been ridiculous on this road trip, and it's something you talked about when we first started in Indy is 5-game road trip, you need those reserves to step up. You need the role players to play great, and that's what they've done. Also, just, you know, the fact that we're here in Sacramento, they cut Nimi Keita a couple years ago. Yeah. You talked about that, you know, during the game. You felt like maybe they thought he didn't fit into what they were doing. And to see how much progress he's made in a couple years with the Celtics, his improvement is remarkable.
We're seeing it this way. So we had Luke Cornett. He got here, his body changed. He became a completely different player, highly impactful, winning player. Now we have Nimi Keita doing the same thing. Luka Garza is looking more athletic. So I don't know what they're doing over there at the Arbach Center, but they're making it happen. And I got to spend more time down there.
Yeah, maybe that's our New Year's resolution, Kayla. We're going to both hang out at the Auerbach Center and hang out with the Australians and see if we can both dunk by the end of the year.
I'll be right there with you. And hey, you know, maybe you can invite your good friend Bill Kennedy. I was just happy that he came on tonight because Scal, I know it didn't work out in the direction we wanted Jaylen Brown to finish with 30 points, but we still got Bill Kennedy in the shot, so that was kind of fun. All right.
If we didn't get Bill Kennedy, that night would have been unsuccessful.